Yeah, good afternoon. I'm just trying to sort of bring in the crowd from the YouTube as well. Good afternoon and welcome to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. We are doing a broadcast today asking a very, very valid question. Um, I believe that Nigeria should be run under a democracy. Unfortunately, we cannot claim to be a democracy because of the way things are running in that country at this point. One cannot comfortably say that we're a democracy. In fact, the actions of the government in terms of allowing freedom of expression and freedom to be able to hold those our officials, government officials, politicians appointed and elected to account is somewhat restricted. So, and it takes us back to the era when the military were in place. Of course, now we are not under a military dispensation. We are not. The military era is gone. At least in appearance, it is not. We are not under a military, governance. But the question now becomes: is the civilian rule applying covert dictatorship force? So on the face of it, we are looking at them and we're saying, right, okay, we are, you know, we're a democracy. You have a right to express freedom of expression and all that. But in reality, one begins to wonder: Are we really in? Are we really? Hang on a minute. Can you hear me? Oh, beg your pardon. You cannot hear me. Those of you on TikTok, sorry. Hello, hello. Sorry about that. Sorry, I was talking away. Good afternoon and welcome to Season AY. Sorry, the mic went away. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 sec. Let me just check. Voice memo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're back. Okay. Okay, I believe we are back now. Sorry, the mic was a bit faulty, so you couldn't hear me. Please do guys for that breakup. Please type yes if you can hear me, and we will run through what I discussed earlier on. Welcome those of you that are on Facebook, TikTok and YouTube. We are just trying to talk about this particular topic. It's not something that many will talk about. Please do let me know if you can hear me now. Just type a yes so we know that you can hear me. I do think you can hear me now. I think you can probably hear me now. Type yes if you can hear me. I do apologize that earlier on the vocals were not there. Please do share the broadcast and let's have a discussion. It's likely going to be a broadcast focused on Nigeria at this point in time. And believe you me, we'll be doing more broadcasts in terms of the presidents of Africa. There's a lot of changes going on in Africa. Africa is really rising, and I'm no doubt there are so many in the there are many in the Western world that are somewhat nervous about the fact that Africans are indeed waking up. Ladies and gentlemen, you are of course watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Please do, when you come in, can you confirm, those of you on TikTok, can you hear me? I'd like to know if you can hear me. Just type a yes if you can hear me on TikTok. I was doing this broadcast earlier on, but I had to change location somewhat because I had to attend to one or two things. And I do believe now that we are back to it's back. We can sort of really crack on with things. So please type yes. Can I
Hi
see a
there,
yes on
welcome
the
to
screen?
Season AY, the
Uh,
platform where we
um, Please type yes on the screen if you can hear me on TikTok. I'd like you to just type that for me. Do me that one little favor. And of course, share the broadcast. The question that you see on the screen is saying a simple question. And the question is this: Are we back under a dictatorship? I don't ask that question lightly. But when we, the people, are being instructed on how we can register or show our discomfort about our governance, one begins to wonder, are we under a dictatorship? And I think it's a valid question to ask. I think it is something that we need to really consider. Let me just check something. I want to just, I don't hear a yes just yet on TikTok. So let me look at it via other means until at least I can be sure. I don't want to go ahead assuming that everything is working and then you cannot hear me. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. So if you can hear me, please type yes on TikTok if you can hear me. Before we proceed, it's very important that we test this out. So let's hear a yes from you. I'm just gonna quickly check that as I am on here right now. I'm just trying to check that you can hear me. It's very, very important that you can hear me. So let me just see. I just want to be sure that you can hear me. Can you hear me? I don't think you can hear me. Okay, that's a problem right there. Hang on a minute. Just want to be sure. I did think you could hear me, but I don't know what's going on. Sorry, before I go. Just trying to check this stuff. I'm testing it out. I wanted to check that you could
Before I
hear me.
go, um,
It's
just
back. Oh, hello? Can you hear that? It went off just now. Well, let's try again. Let's try that again. Let's try that again. So we're going to try that. I wanted to see if you could hear me. Hello, testing, testing. Can you hear me?
let's try that again. So we're
Okay.
gonna try that. I wanted to see if you could hear me.
Okay,
Hello,
yes, you
testing,
can hear
testing.
me.
Can you hear
Now
me?
you can hear me. Now you can hear me.
Okay.
So sorry about that. I had to test it. I was trying
Okay.
to get
Yes, you
everything
can hear
working.
me. Now you can hear me.
Okay.
Now you can
I
hear me.
can I
So
can see that
sorry
now.
about that. I had to test it. I was trying to get everything
So
work.
those of you on YouTube, do bear with me. I beg your pardon. It is really difficult to go ahead without really having a clear um, 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 the mics and everything functioning. The broadcast is, as you see on the screen, it states, are we back under a dictatorship where the press has become muzzled? Muzzled as in the sense that the press do not have freedom of speech. And there are reasons why I mention this and the reason why I'm talking about this now. If we go and look if we go and look at what's happened to a number of people, we've heard about Ijele Speaks being being arrested. We've heard about Shegun Olatunji of the news online newspaper arrested and subsequently released. And now we are hearing that the Foundation for Investigative Journalism, the head, Shoyombo, I believe let me just get that name correct. 1 second. The name is it just escapes me. But his surname is Shoyombo. As I was saying that now, I seem to have just yeah, Fisayo Shoyombo. Yeah, Fisayo Shoyombo has is being called to questions to come and face questions, and and all the people are doing has been really to ask questions, to present to the government the fact that there are a lot of uh, blatant corruption going on. Fisayo Oshoyombo did an expose recently. I'm going to try and play some sections of it. It is on hard copy, where he exposed the fact that the Nigerian customs is heavily corrupt. And he went undercover, ran a story, checked everything out, and then he came on hard copy and he talked about that. What we will try and do, I'm going to try and show that on the broadcast. I'll try and see if I can show it up. It may be difficult for you to follow it on TikTok, but basically, I'll just give you a rundown. Those of you that are on TikTok, Shoyombo did something that was very, very good. He went undercover. So Fisayo Shoyombo went undercover and he went into the system, to the custom system, and worked with a lot of different people. And it was in the process of doing that that he uncovered the massive corruption that was taking place. So we are going to watch some of that section. You will only be, those of you on TikTok will only be able to hear the voice. You will not be able to see the picture. But those of you that are on YouTube, of course, you will have access to the pictures because it will be here live in front of you. If you haven't subscribed to Citizen AY on YouTube, please go ahead and do so. It helps in two ways. You get a better experience in terms of the broadcast, and of course, secondly, you help us grow the platform. Sorry, Daxa boy, I'm not gonna be able to take the question right now. What I'm doing now is doing something specifically about. I'm gonna decline it because I don't want to do that now. I appreciate you, but I really want to talk about issues relating to Nigeria and how it impacts a lot of Nigerians. So I just want to just check something to make sure it is working fine on here. Make sure that it is. Okay, good. So please do subscribe to Citizen AI on YouTube. Help us grow the platform. 1 minute, you'll hear. I'm hearing myself back, so I'm just trying to deal with that. So the question remains: are we in Nigeria, are we back under an undeclared dictatorship? Because I am going to give you a list of people, journalists, and people that are reporting on, and social media people that are reporting what is going on, that have been called into, that have been sort of either arrested or in the custody at one point or that have been in the custody of the Defense Intelligence Agency and other bodies or the police as well. Number one, a man called Shegun Olatuji, who's the editor for First News online newspaper. He was arrested by the Defense Intelligence Agency and he spent 12 days with them. And in the end, they had to release him. We heard also about the dark man, the very dark man, and Ijele Speaks. Again, they were illegally detained. We're not quite sure if they've been released or not. And of course, we're now talking about Fatoyibo, Fatoyibo Shoyombo, I think it is. Let me just make sure I get the name correct. Sorry about that. It's me. I just wanted to make sure. I like to be very, very precise about things, and it's important that we do so. So it is very important that we do not allow those that have designs of oppressing and suppressing us to silence us. Fisayo Shoyombo of the Foundation of Investigative Journalism. He was the one who did the uncovering. I'm going to play sections of that now. I will go quiet. Those of you that are on for both on TikTok, so you will be able to hear excerpts of the interview that Fisayo Shoyombo did on TikTok, where on Channels TV with Maokwe, where he went into great length and talked about what he uncovered in terms of corruption in the system, which is what we are all trying to address. And it's necessary for us to address these concerns because, for example, Nigeria, since independence, we've spent up to 2015, from 1999 to 2015, on electricity alone, the country has spent 2.74 trillion naira, 2.74 trillion naira on electricity. And what that has meant is that those money has not been accounted for. There's been no electricity, and also further billions upon billions have been spent, even as far, even in the current dispensation, and there has been no accountability by anybody. Nobody has ended up in jail. 2.74 trillion naira spent on supposedly providing electricity. In effect, 2.74 trillion naira has been spent on keeping the entire nation in darkness. That is why it is very, very relevant that people, journalists like Fisayo Shoyombo and others have the right to investigate and reveal to the public the corruption embedded in the system. So, what we will do is I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes, and I'll let you hear this. 1 second, please. Let me just sort that out. And those of you who are on YouTube, you'll be able to obviously hear that as we play it. So let us do this quickly now. I'm just going to give me a minute. Just want to make sure I've got everything in there. Now, one of the reasons that Fisayo did this was because he was trying to establish, sorry about that, I don't know what that is. Meet that, I don't want that at all. So let me take that away. 1 second, please. I want to just make sure that that's not happening. Skip that one there. Right, okay. Now, thank you. I don't want it to be playing. Now, so we are going to hear Fisayo. In fact, you is actually is up and running now. So let me just quickly go back. I want you to he will be introduced by Maokwe. So let's listen. Here we go. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Oh, we don't want that. Give me a minute, please. Just give me a minute. I want to just get rid of things, and it's for those of you that are on the YouTube. Just bear with me, please. A quick question. I don't want that to happen. I just want to. I will. It will stop in a minute. Sometimes when you move, it does change things. So bear with me. Bear with me. We are gonna play that now, and you will hear him now. Okay. So here we go. Let us watch that. Only for a few minutes. We won't listen. We won't play it all, but you will hear it now. Here we go. Let me turn it up. Okay.
Investigative journalist and editor-in-chief of the Foundation for Investigative Journalism, Fisayo Shoyombo, who joins us from Seoul in South Korea. I asked him not only about the findings of his investigation, but what has piqued his interest in this line of investigation.
Thank you. Before I answer your question, let me quickly say that I noticed you used the word allegedly, and everything I'm going to tell you on this program, none of it is an allegation because I was an active participant in the story. So I'll be telling you the things that I saw, basically, not exactly the things that people told me, you know. So how did I get into it? It was about, different complaints that I'd, had got over a number of months about the scourge of smuggling in that axis, and whenever I put out a story and I sign it off with my name and I call it an investigation, I participated in it. So I thought, let me try to to smuggle, some items into the country in bulk, and then see if it's possible. So there are two major talking points so far from that story. What I said happened with customs in terms of how they take bribes and let people smuggle things into the country, and then my mentioning of Ibrahim Egungbo Dende, as a smuggler. Those are the two talking points. But Dende was not even supposed to be part of the story. It was simply about customs, and then in the process, I found out more than I bargained for, as they say.
So can you tell us a bit more? Because I noticed that this has now gone on. You started sometime in 2022. This investigation seems to have taken a period of about 2 years. You did
Fantastic.
one by motorcycle, and then you said you tried to go back again to see to do one, with a vehicle, that's a car. But it would seem that one was more successful than the other.
So I'm happy you asked that question. So I went in November 2022. Went into Benin Republic, got the bags of rice, brought them into a place called Ojaodon. And then from Ojaodon, I was supposed to move them to Ilaro. But we had to bribe customs. So what happened was I went in like I wanted to smuggle, and then I had to get smugglers already based in Ilaro and Ojaudo to take me in as part of them. Meaning that everything I wrote that the smugglers told me, the smugglers were not speaking to a journalist. The smugglers believed that they were speaking to a smuggler like them. And that's what, so when people say, oh, it's hearsay, it's not hearsay. No, it's just like going undercover to join a robbery gang. And then, because you are one of them, they tell you, oh, and the IGP or a police commissioner is part of them. It's not, you can't treat that kind of information with scant regard. So we were waiting for customs to tell us the day to move the bags of rice from Ojadon to Ilaro. And while waiting, I had to leave the country. I had a trip planned, so I traveled. So there was a wait time because the customs official who took money from the lead smuggler had not yet given us the all clear. So what happens is, if you read it in any newspaper, customs intercept 1 million bags of rice. Those are people that did not bribe them. Those are people that did not bribe them. Anyone, and I say this with all conviction because I spent weeks in 3 spells to get this story. Anyone can bring in anything into Nigeria if you pay the right people. If you read any news that customs seized whatever, those are people that try to outsmart customs. If you bribe the right people in customs, you bring anything in. And when I say anything, I mean rice, I mean chicken, I mean turkey, I mean arms, I mean ammunition, I mean guns, I mean tramadol, I mean motorcycles used by terrorists in the north. These are all things that were brought in. The Nigerian customs cannot deny. They arrested IBD Dendi in the second half year for gun running. They know why they picked him. Let them come out and tell us. The previous time they arrested him, they confirmed they arrested him, but they never told us what is smuggled. So how come you can tell us you seized 100 bags of rice, but you arrest someone and you can't tell us what is smuggled? And the then custom spokesman confirmed it. So yes, I did it in spells because each time we couldn't move it in on our own. If you try that, you run the risk of getting killed. As I
Yeah, now, so you can see that Fisayo Shoyombo of the Foundation for Investigative Journalism has done a detailed analysis and review of what was going on in the customs, exposing the crimes that is deeply embedded in our governance. Because the customs and the police and the army and all of that, I'm afraid, and the entire system of governance is deeply uh, corrupted with corruption. And the work he was doing was to expose that to try and ensure that we end up getting a very good a governance that would reflect the will of the people. So, Fisayo Shoyombo, who, by the way, you see in the picture just above my head, if you join us on YouTube, you will see him talking live on hard copy with Maokwe. And that is it. When you hear the voice speaking, he's in that picture, wearing the same clothes, talking about the expose on the customs of Nigeria. Now, one of the things that you can't hear me. Ah, okay. Oh, okay. 1 second. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Those of you on TikTok. I think they can hear me on YouTube. YouTube can hear me. Can you hear me now? Please type yes. You can. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. So now, the guy in the picture, those of you on TikTok, the guy in the picture that you see just above my head in glasses with the beard, that is Fisayo Shoyombo. Now, he has exposed a massive crime in customs. The customs is riddled with corruption. Ah, okay, okay, okay. 1 second. I'll try one more time. 1 minute, please. Those of you who are on there, thank you for letting me know. I will address it. I don't know what's happened here, but we will address it. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, let's try this and hopefully it will work. So, are you hearing me now? How about now? How about now? How about now? Can you hear me now? Can anybody hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me now? 1 second. Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? You can. Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Okay, fantastic. So, now the guy in the picture above is um, Fisayo Shoyombo. And for Nigerians, it is really important to understand what he's doing. He is working towards ensuring that we, the people, get. I pray it doesn't break again. Yes, I hope not. Yes, LMs, I hope not. Yes, I hope not. Same here. I hope not. So, Fisayo has exposed a massive uh, 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 crime, corruption embedded in the customs. Now, unfortunately, the government they went and they went and called the chair for the Foundation for Investigative Journalism in Lagos to come to the police. And they've now asked, after they interviewed the chairwoman, Buki Shonibare, they have now called for Buki Shonibare to go and produce Fisayo. Now, luckily, from the broadcast that you are hearing, he's not in the country. He is in another country. And rightly so. Now, it is sad that many of us will have to be in a situation where to be able to report true journalism, true journalism, unfortunately, you have to be out of the country. And that is not how it's supposed to be. And that is why I talk about the era of the military era, when the military junta, when they were arresting journalists like Delegiwa, when Taiso Lani and Gani Fawemi and many others, and I believe Femi Falana was part of that as well, were all trying to expose crimes committed under the military regime. Now, I don't want to call it that way in terms of the regime that's here now, of the democratic, shall we say, the democratic governance that we have now. I don't want to say that they are doing the same thing. But when you are silencing those who are exposing corruption, thank you very much for the egg and all of that that you give me for the likes. Continue to like it. I appreciate you. So when you are seeing a lot of people being called into for questioning. They called in Very Dark Man. They called in Ijene Speaks. They arrested Shegun Latuji of the First News Online, the editor, and he was in the DIA, the intelligence agency. Director for the something intelligence agency for 12 days. And what that tells me is that we have to be we need to ask that question. As citizens, if we are sovereigns, we have a right to question our governance. And one of the things that I want to reiterate in this broadcast is this. You need to know that you have the powers to hold your governance to account. Because under Section 14.2a, Section 14.2a of the Nigerian Constitution, it says sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. That's 14.2a. You need to memorize that. I'll quickly say it in Yoruba. More importantly, it is important for our people, our Yoruba people, our Igbo people, Middle Belt, Ishan, Efik, Ibibio, Hausa, Fulani, to know that they have the right to question their governance. So I will show you, I'm going to say the same right in Yoruba. 14.2a in Yoruba state. Ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ní síjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. Now that is the direct translation of what I just said to you about the sovereignty in English. I did it in Yoruba. And the reason why I'm doing it in Yoruba is we need to encourage all our communities to know their rights. Our communities need to know their rights. It is no longer about we just saying, oh, you should do this, you should do that. We need them to begin to read and understand their rights as citizens. And they can begin, and our job is to teach them to hold those they elected to office to account. How do they hold them to account? Now, they hold them to account by doing something, which is this. Under Section 14.2c, it states, the participation by the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. Now, those of you who are on YouTube, you may not see this, but I'm going to put those words up because I need people to understand that they have the right to hold the governance to account. Let me just see if I've got it here. No. Okay. Give me 1 second. I just want to just show you. So those of you who are on YouTube, again, please, if you haven't subscribed to Citizen AY on YouTube, go ahead and do so now. Let me do this. I just want to just show you those words. And it's what I just quoted now is in the 1999 Constitution. Now I know the Constitution it is fraudulent. We know, but the powers within that Constitution we must use. We must begin to encourage our people to use it. And once the people start using it, they will be able to take part in the process to change the Constitution, to ensure we have a referendum so that each and every one of us can decide if we want to be still being in Nigeria or if we want to be part of a devolution going forward. So these are why we're saying what we're doing. It is really, really important that we do this. So let me quickly just get that information now. 1 second, please. So know your rights. Let me just see if it's there. I want to just make sure that we've got the right one, not this one. I'm going to bring that back here. Okay, so those of you who are on YouTube, you will see what I'm saying. On the YouTube, it is really important. Our people, it is no longer enough for us to depend on the government. Our role as citizens is very, very important. Welcome on board, Oluwase Idi Ajiri. Welcome on board. It is no longer acceptable for us to accept that the government will do things on our behalf. Our job as sovereigns is to monitor our governance. And that key role can only be carried out by using the powers that we possess within the, yes, we know, the fraudulent constitution, 14.2a and 14.2c. Critically, 14.2c. 14.2c states, and I'm going to read that out now. And those of you on the screen, those of you on YouTube will see. Please join Citizen AY on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the notification button, give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Now, 14.2c in the Constitution of Nigeria, under 1999 Constitution, we know it's fraudulent. We need to participate in that process to change and reform that constitution. Now they're going through a process. They want to put in, give the state governors powers and devolution. But we need to add to that that we want a referendum. And that is where you and I need to participate in the process. Because if we do not do that, we can no longer leave our governance to determine what goes in the constitution. You and I must go and be part of that process. And that is what I'm trying to encourage us all to do. I hope you can hear me still, those of you on TikTok. Now, I'm going to read to you section 14.2c of the 1999 Constitution in English, then I'll translate it into Yoruba. In fact, I'll do it in Yoruba first. In Yoruba, and he goes like this. Ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ní tìjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè ìgbàgbọ́gbàgbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. That's 14.2c. What it simply means in English is this. The participation by the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. So that's what 14.2c states. Now, what does that mean? You want to participate in your governance. The actual act of participation means that the very thing that you see, now that we've seen a report by Fisayo Shoyombo, where there's massive corruption, we, the people, have the right to question any elected or appointed official over anything in governance. We can demand for answers from the government by calling staff representatives of appointed representatives or elected representatives to a town hall meeting to explain why there is massive fraud in customs in our area. You can do that. That is what 14.2c stands for. the ability for you to hold those you elected to office and to hold them accountable. And that is what we're trying to encourage. So again, in Yoruba, I said it. Ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ní ìjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè ìgbà gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. Now, in English, the participation by the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. These are what we need. Thank you very much, Holy Trinity. These are the things we need to do. You see, one of the things we have to really stop doing, and that's that we've been conditioned to just pray, to just hope. We don't need hope or prayers. We need to take collective action. We need to take collective action. And that is what I'm trying to, inculcate in each and every one of us. Every community, you have that power to call a town hall meeting and call your local government chairman, your state house of assembly members, your house of reps, your senators, your governors. You have that right and the power to call them to a meeting, because under section 14.2c, you can participate in your governance. You participate. How do you participate? Questioning them. And that is why it is important and essential for those constitutions to be in our local languages. That way, thank you very much, Holy Trinity. Wow, great you said. I appreciate that. Now, we need to build this into our community. We cannot depend on one or two people to do this. We have to be the people who are going to go into every community across Nigeria and make them aware of this right. Until we change the constitution, we need to partake in the process. There is no longer time for us to be waiting and praying. Prayers has just been a tool of deception. Prayers in either Christianity or Islam has just been a tool of deception and distraction to prevent us from ever holding those we elect into office to account. The government must start understanding that they are not above the law. For as long as we don't begin to take those things on. Happy Star, I understand, yes, but to be honest, I'm really not into religion, because it is a tool of destruction. For us in Africa, you need to understand that when it comes to religion, it is a tool of destruction. It has actually destroyed our society, and many people don't understand that. I can explain that in a little more detail. Yes, we must take actions not hoping for. Thank you very much, Holy Trinity. That is exactly, I'm going to highlight that point, because I really I'm pinning the comment because you're making very valid points. And that is what we need. We cannot live on hope any longer. We are a nation in Africa. We are so blessed with resources that many other countries around the world would want, and they are indeed coming for. But they are keeping us, confused and disorientated with religion whilst they cut away our resources. And those in government are unfortunately helping them. And that is what we need to break. We have to break this kind of cycle of where people in government are actively engaged in taking away wealth from the people they're meant to serve and giving away to foreign countries and leaving their own people impoverished. That is where, as sovereigns, that is states under section 14.2a, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through its constitution, derives all its powers and authority. You are a sovereign. We need to, from a 4-year-old, from a child born, every child born, the minute you are born, you are a sovereign. And we need to start teaching this to our children from the age, as soon as they're born, from the age of 4, if they can start reading, they need to know those words of head, the words I'm about to read. In English or in Yoruba or in Igbo or in Hausa, they need to know it, because it really wakes them up in their mind. What happens is the Bible and the Quran, as used in Africa, is designed to keep you compliant. That means to say you cannot question anything. You have to just obey what you are told. What we are trying to do is to wake you up, to begin to think for yourself. When you know these words of head yourself, and I'm going to read it. It says, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through its constitution, derives all its powers and authority. This is something that they should be able to read off from the age of 4, because unfortunately in our culture, from the age of 4, you are either told you have two options in Nigeria. You are either a Christian or a Muslim. You are sent to either to go and learn Arabic and Islam in KU classes, or you go to a Sunday school. So we need to get in there right now. If we're going to change anything, prayers is not going to do anything for us. I really need to say that now. Prayers will not say anything. Prayers cannot do anything for us. Prayers is for the birds. It's a deception. It's a lie. If you can talk about when you're doing prayers, you can pray. It is way to distract your energy, to dissipate your energy from taking the steps you need to take. And what steps do you need to take? Using your powers of sovereignty to participate in your governance, i.e., the participation by the people in the government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. It is really important that all of us begin to do that. We need this message to reach into every community. If you are going to get a better Nigeria or better Yoruba land or better Igbo land or better, you need the people to know the powers they possess as sovereigns. What religion does is to tell you that you are a slave to you are a servant to Jesus Christ, or you are a slave to Allah. And when you are a slave, you do not perceive yourself as a sovereign, which the Constitution confers upon you as a citizen of Nigeria. And as with those powers of sovereignty, you have the power to participate in your governance. But we need that to be taught to our people in our local languages. I'm going to do something quickly. I think I have it in Igbo language as well. I'm going to endeavor to do this in Igbo language also, because I need people to understand. My Igbo is not good, please, so don't expect a miracle or anything like that. But I'm just going to try and see if I've got the picture here. I think I have a picture, didn't I? I saw a picture just now. There we go. So now let me see. Is it there? Okay, so now those of you that are on TikTok, on YouTube, you will see the Igbo version. I have the Igbo version of the 1999 Constitution. This particular section, 14.2a and 14.2c. Now, my Igbo is not good. I'm not very good at speaking Igbo, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try so that at least you can get an idea. Please do share this broadcast. Now, in Igbo, 14.2a goes like this. N'ihi ya o si otu akụpụta na a ochichi bụ nke ndị Nigeria bụ ndị ochichi site usoro iwu a na-enweta ikike na ikike niile. That's 14.2a in Igbo. Now, 14.2c, which talks about the participation by the people in the government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. It goes this way in Igbo. Now, it goes like this. Ntinye aka ndị madu n'ime chichi ha ka aga ahụ nakadi iwu nke iwu a siri di. I hope I have not damaged it too much in attempting to say it. I've just tried to. We have this information. And by the way, you can get this information also joining Citizen AY on YouTube. I have a website. It's called www.citizenay.org. Now, I've got the translation up to section 53 on the website on www.citizenay.org. You can get that there for Yorubas. We are working on the Igbo version as well, and to complete the whole thing. Ideally, what we need to actually campaign for, what will be even better, is for the government to translate this constitution into our local languages. That is where our effort will come. If you want those good roads, the way to get the good roads is to begin to campaign for the constitution to be in your local languages. That way, those of us who are abroad will not, we don't have to wait. Those people who are at home will not have to wait for those of us who are abroad to fight for them in terms of their roads. They can do it themselves because the constitution is in their local languages. That is why the areas that I read before, when I read to you in Yoruba, it means that the market women, the farmer, the organizer, the buka owner, the wagon seller, the hairdresser, all of those businesses, they can call town hall meetings Stop, I beg. I beg. I see. I did say Uncle Sumbu. I beg. No vex. No vex. I thought I don't speak Igbo, so I said it. So I'm sorry. I tried to do it, but you can get a copy. If you join me right now on YouTube, you will see the words. And in fact, you know what? Uncle Sumbu, can I throw you an invite? If you can, I can throw you an invite. I might even be able to, but no, it's going to be difficult because I have to put you on the screen and I can't. But I hear you. But I have those words. Somebody translated it for me, and I'm using that. So I understand. But the key thing is our communities have got to begin to take action themselves. There is no, you see, if we do not take this action, let me invite Uncle Sumbu here and let me invite you. If you are able to join me, that's great, and others. So we can talk for a few minutes. But the reason I'm doing this is we can no longer be living on prayers and hope anymore. We shouldn't be living on prayers and hope anymore. Forget hope and prayers. We need collective action. So that is what I'm talking about here. We need our communities to know the powers that they possess as sovereigns and how to use those powers. And all of this is best used in their local languages. Like I said now, I translated the Constitution section 14.2 and 14.2c into Yoruba. So which means that the market women will now understand that they have the power as sovereignty because the government derives the powers that they use in governing them from. Okay, later, Uncle Sumbu, thank you very much. I appreciate you. So they know that they can possess, they have the powers, the government derives powers to govern the country, the nation from the people. And they now know that the people, can use the powers by participating in the governance. How do they participate? By questioning them. So you can call a town hall meeting. They can call a town hall meeting. The women, you don't have to speak English to call a town hall meeting. Now that you know your rights in your language, you can call your local government chairman and ask him about the monthly allocation that they receive. You can call them to a meeting and say, Oga, we had, before you begin the meeting, you read to them this area. So if you're a Yoruba woman and you call the town hall meeting, the first thing you do in the town hall meeting is to read to them your rights as citizens, section 14.2a. And you read it like this. You will say to them, 14.2a in Yoruba, Ekabo, welcome on board. Àṣetani rèé o, ẹ fetí sí o. Ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn èèyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ìjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè yìí gba gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. So that's 14.2a. So now you sit down when you are talking to a Yoruba person, a Yoruba senator or Yoruba legislator or local government chairman, and you say that to them, and you're a market woman, they cannot hide from you. They cannot go and tell you lies. So you are now asking in your language. Because of that, right, I'm now asking you, the money that you got for monthly allocations, where did you spend it? You ask this in the town hall. You see, what we are trying to achieve here, in our governance right now, there is no transparency. In our governance in Nigeria right now, there is zero transparency. Please tap on the screen and share. Those of you on Facebook, YouTube, please give us a like, share this broadcast. There is no transparency in our governance. The government will tell you they will do something, but there is, if you try to check what they've done, there is nowhere for you to do it. For example, let me give you an example now of what I mean. Since 1999 to 2015, the government have spent 2.74 trillion naira on electricity, but there is nowhere we the citizens can go and check what they've done and say, okay, we know where you spend the money. In 1999, you spend this much on electricity, and we could see the equipment, and we can see in 2000, you spend this much on. There is nowhere. It is not transparent. So our governance, our democracy lacks transparency. We need to change that. It means that you and I now need to scrutinize what they're doing at every level. And that is where we have to really take part. UK police, I don't know what I want. UK police, I'm not interested in that right now. Sorry. Yeah, I need to speak to people that are really, we're talking about, if you're a Yoruba person and you understand what we're talking about, then I'll bring you on board. But right now, what I'm saying, is that, you see, our governance right now, it lacks transparency. Our governance lacks transparency. They will make all the promises that they will do this, they will do that. But there is no opportunity. When you, because you don't know your constitution in your language, you don't have the opportunity to question them. Now we are giving you that opportunity to begin to question them because you now know what is in the constitution, more importantly, in your own language, in your own local language, in Igbo language, in Yoruba language, in Hausa, in Ifik, in all of that. And we are calling on the government. We are calling on the government to translate the constitution into our local language to enable transparency. So when they say they are going to do projects, we can follow what projects they're doing. We, by calling them to town hall meeting, they will have to answer in the town hall meeting what they spend the money on, provide physical evidence of where the money has been spent. Right now, look at the budget padding. They say Akpabio, Senate President Akpabio, he's received 90 billion naira for constituency projects. But there is no transparency. The people in the constituency have not been given the opportunity to question and track where the money is gone. This is where you, knowing those, what I've just said now, section 14.2 and 14.2c, knowing it, you can now question them and say, Oga, yes, we know, say you said you got, explain to us. Now, how much money they give you for a constituency project in Akwa Ibom North? How much constituency? They talk, say you get 90 billion. I beg, Oga, can't explain, no. 90 billion. Now, where you spend that money? We won't see. Now, who be the contractor? Now, wait till remain. So, you can ask those questions as citizens. And that is what we are trying to enable you to do. You see, the Bible and the Quran, they are there to distract your mind. They're there to deceive you. The government, do you know that the government funds? Do you know that the government funds the building of churches with our money? Instead of building roads, instead of building schools, they will build, the government puts money, constituency in the constituency budget to build churches. These are the problems that we face. So that's why I'm saying our governance lacks transparency. Our governance in the entire system lacks transparency. If you ask them to provide you things, they say, no, I'm in government. Whatever I tell you, you don't ask questions. And that is what the Bible has conditioned us to do. The Bible has conditioned us to not question anybody in government. The Quran has conditioned us to not question anybody in government. Whereas as a sovereign, it is your right as a sovereign. The power, the real strong power you have as a sovereign is to question everybody either elected or appointed into government because you are a sovereign and they are serving you. And that is what we need to teach. We need to teach this skill to our children from the time they are 4 years old to make them know that they're sovereign. But when the Bible, every year for 20 years, we've been taught, oh, you're a son of Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus, blood of Jesus. Oh, Allah, I'm son of that. You will be afraid to question the government. They are conditioning your mind to never question anybody in government. That is why I am saying the system lacks transparency. It lacks transparency for you to be able to track. I mean, how can you explain? Since 1999, the government spent, our government has spent 2.74 trillion naira, but there is nowhere that we can go and track what they spent it on, who spent it, what equipment, how long it's going for. No, there's no physical evidence of this. Our governance lacks transparency. Unfortunately, even the current one, it lacks transparency. So that is why I am saying this. We need our people to be aware that the best way we can go forward is to encourage our people to know their rights, not only knowing it, but particularly in their language. You see, when you know your rights in your language, you are going to participate in that process. You are going to be confident and you will be able to ask questions. We need the words that all of us must know right now, that must become something for us to use, is this word, town hall meeting. We need our people to get used to knowing about town hall meeting. You have a right to call a town hall meeting to question your elected government officials, elected, appointed, whoever they are, you have a right to call a town hall meeting. And when they fail to show up, you can demand that they come because you're a sovereign, and they cannot refuse. That is a power that you possess. So we need our people to get comfortable with that idea. But if you are going to a church and to a mosque, the church wants you to see yourself as a servant of God. The mosque wants you to see you the servant of Allah. You never will see yourself as a sovereign. It is brainwashing you. And because they do that from the age of 4, it is very difficult for us to suddenly break away from that, particularly if we don't know. That is why programs like this is very important. We're sharing information so that you can take action yourself. Every one of us, we need to change the mindset of our communities. There is no transparency in our governance. That is why the government, they are trying to silence the likes of Fisayo Shoyombo, who exposed the massive corruption in customs. He exposed it. They don't like that. And they want to silence us. We need to begin to understand that there is no transparency in our democracy. That is a fact. There is zero transparency. There is nobody on this. Bring anybody. Bring the best lawyer in this country, in Nigeria. Bring anybody, and I can debate this. There is zero transparency. And without transparency, you can't have good governance. Transparency means that you can have, and that is why the town hall is really important, because in the town hall, there is no hiding place for any of the solid politicians. We ask them questions, they provide the answer, everybody can see what they've done, and they have nothing to hide, then fine. But if they don't provide it, then we know they're not working for us. Then it makes it easier for us to actually recall them. I will come and talk later on about the powers of recall that we have. But I need you to understand right now, our governance, our democracy is not transparent. There is zero transparency in our democracy. And that is why you will never get the good roads that you want. You won't get the school. You won't get the water. You won't get the light. You won't get the roads. You won't get the bridges, because they don't want to tell you the truth. The town hall is the place where the truth comes out. Because when you call a meeting, when you call them to a meeting, they have to answer you. Because why? You are a sovereign. And you have the power by participating, you questioning them. You are monitoring what they're doing. The community has to monitor the actions of the government. That is how government works. If we do not do that, or reps, thank you very much. If we do not begin to do this, if we do not begin to do this in our community, if you can come and say Yoruba Nation all you want, you can go and say I want Biafra all you want, nothing will change, because we need to be part of that process. You have to be watching what they're doing. You have to be watching our community. From the young to the old, we have to be monitoring the actions of your local government chairman, your senator, your House of Reps, your governors, your press. You have that power. That's why I'm going to say it again, and I need you to understand it. In Yoruba, here are your powers that you have. You need to know it in your local language. Thank you for the stars that you're giving me as well. You need to know it in your language. Here is the Constitution 42A in your language. Ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ní síjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè ìgbà gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. What does it mean? In English, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. And you need to know that. And we want our kids must know that from the age of 4 years old. I kid you not. They need to know it from the age of 4. We need to teach this in our community. And when you teach that, now I've said it to you in Yoruba, every Yoruba child should know the words I'm about to say from the age of 4. Ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ní tíjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè ìgbà gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. The Igbo children must know in Igbo the same thing I read earlier on. I know I messed it up badly because I don't speak Igbo. From the age of 4, that is what we need to do. We need to really make sure that if we're going to change our community, it starts with our children. We need to put the effort on them, and we have to make sure And at this point, people are going to be upset with me. We need to keep our children away from the churches and the mosques. They are the most brainwashing and damaging thing for our youth. We need to keep them away from the churches and the mosque. Olubedi, welcome on board, my brother. People will not like to hear this, but if we allow the church and the mosque to get into their brain, they will not stand up for their rights as sovereigns. That is the reality. And the evidence is all around us. And if you do not stand up for your right as sovereign, you cannot ensure that you monitor your local government chairman. If they say, oh, they say they're going to fix the road, you have to monitor them. How do you monitor them? By participating in the governance, by asking them questions, using your powers in the Constitution. 14.2c, it states, ìkópa àwọn ènìyàn nínú ìjọba àwọn gbọ́dọ̀ rí dájú ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú àwọn òfin orílẹ̀-èdè. That is 14.2c. Ìkópa àwọn ènìyàn nínú ìjọba àwọn gbọ́dọ̀ rí dájú ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú àwọn òfin orílẹ̀-èdè. What does that mean in English? The participation by the people in the government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. So now, that means that you now know that for you, if you are going to get that road in your community, if you don't participate in the process and monitor what the senators, the local government chairman is doing, monitor what the state house assembly members are doing, monitor what the House of Reps is doing, and the senator and the governor. If you don't monitor it, the road will never happen in your community. Our role is as a community to come together and monitor them. And again, I maintain this. There is no transparency in our governance. You see, once you cannot monitor what they're doing, it means that the government, our democracy, is not transparent. What is lacking, the most lacking thing in our democracy right now is transparency. There is zero transparency anywhere. They will just say, oh, we got the money for this, we spent it. Where is the evidence? There's nowhere. We spent the money. We spent it on, they can tell you a light that will cost 10,000 naira. They will say it costs 1 million. Where's the evidence? You cannot ask any questions. You need to start asking questions. This is what we need to do. Olubedi, my brother, thank you very much. This is the, if we do not participate, and this is why we participating in that process, it is so key. Don't bother trying to win. If you are not participating, and the only option we have now is to participate. Even if we are going to have Yoruba Nation, without participating, we can't get Yoruba Nation. I'm telling you. If you want to get Biafra, without participating, you can't get Biafra. I am telling you. Because you see, the system must recognize that you are part of the process. The minute the system recognizes that you are part of the process and you start asking it questions, then what you want will happen. That is what I'm saying. Our system of governance lacks transparency. All of the stories that they're doing, the churches and the mosques, you should keep, I'm saying it now, every family, you should keep the church and the mosque away from your children, because they are the ones who are controlling their minds. They will not be able to question, like I'm telling you now. The kids will not even know their rights. They don't know their rights. We need to, from the age of 4, the children must know. In Yoruba, 14.2a, offhead, ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn èèyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ní tìjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè nígbà gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. What does that mean in English? Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. These are the things we need to do. These are the things we need to do. Verify. Why? What do you mean? Sorry. What are you talking about now? Sorry, somebody is trying to refresh. I don't understand. Or somebody's, oh, come on. 1 minute, please. 1 minute. I'm being stopped here. Oh, God. No, don't end. Somebody's interjected in what I'm doing here. Those of you on TikTok, I beg your pardon. They want to end. I'll come straight back. This is really annoying. How do I complete the verification code? I'm trying to answer it, but I'm sorry, they are breaking it up. I'll come back. Give me a few minutes. I'm really not happy about this. They've just asked me for verification code. I don't know what's happened. The broadcast will end. I will come back and I will tell you. Please bear in mind, our system of governance lacks transparency. That's the reality. Hang on. So what do you mean? Oh, okay. What do you mean? So, hello? Oh, okay. I don't happy. I don't like this at all. So, it looks like I was kicked out of TikTok. I think I'm speaking too much truth. But, ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue with the thing. Let me go back. I'm going to go back again. I'm going back in again. I don't understand what they've done there. That's really not fair at all. They just suddenly sprung that on me, and I was trying to answer it as best I could. Okay. I don't know why they're doing that. I'm not at all happy. So let's go live. So, hello, hello, hello. Come back again. Come back again, please. I don't know why they did that. They suddenly threw me out. So those of you on TikTok, come back in. I'm hoping you can join me. I'm not feeling great, to be honest, but this is something we need to do. Our governance, the biggest problem we have in our democracy is lack of transparency. The biggest problem we have in our democracy in Nigeria is lack of transparency. And the transparency can only happen when you and I are able to participate in our governance using our powers of sovereignty. Like I said, we need to make sure from here on, if we want to have a nation that functions, we have to keep our children away from churches and mosques. That is the reality. Because the churches and the mosques, they are brainwashing our children. They are keeping them in a state whereby they are not able to question things. Those are the kind of things we're talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, please do join us again. TikTok played a game on me there, and I tried to answer it, but I don't know what happened on TikTok. But like I said, let us listen a few more minutes to what Fisayo is saying here. Welcome back, those of you who have been with me. We're going to carry on. Like I said, we need our people. Right now, I'm on this tribe. We need to be clear. In Africa, in Nigeria, in Yoruba land, the biggest threat to our development are these religions of Islam and Christianity. They are shutting down the brain of our children, being able to hold their governors to account. They are filling the minds of our children with lies and make them afraid to question those that are meant to serve them. We need to change that mindset. And that is why we're saying what we're saying here. The churches and the mosques are the biggest threat to any development that you will have in your community. If you want road, if you want light, if you want water, if you want hospital, then you have to keep your children away from the churches and the mosques right now in Nigeria. Now, when I'm saying that, other countries in Europe, they are welcome to carry out and do religion if they wish. But in Nigeria, on the African continent, those religions are keeping the minds of our people occupied. We need to wake up. Please share this information. Our governance is not transparent. This is why I keep my son out of foreign religion. Thank you very much. I'm gonna highlight what you just said there. I'm gonna highlight it. So I'm highlighting this. So this is very important. It is a danger to our development. The religions of Christianity and Islam in Nigeria, in Africa, is a danger to our development. It prevents the people from standing up for their rights. And that is the danger about religion. When I talk about the people start shouting, but here's the evidence. Nigeria, since 1999, I'm going to do a screenshot. Let me see if I can get you this thing about the power the electricity. I'm going to read it to you, and those of you who are watching on here, you will see it as well. Sorry, let me quickly just do this. I want to bring this because it's important to understand what we're saying. We've been lied to. We've been conned. This is a huge con. Religion is a deception. Religion is a deception. Religions of Islam and Christianity is a deception. It's designed to make you weak, to never stand up for your rights, and then exploit you. And you will never hold anybody to account. Our governance is not transparent. That is the reality. Nobody can say any otherwise. And I challenge anybody to dispute this with me. Please put this everywhere around the world. Anybody around the world. I'm challenging them to a debate with me on this issue. Our governance has never been transparent and will never be transparent because of the heavy influence of religions of Islam and Christianity. The best thing we can do right now, if we want to have a better future, is to keep our children away from the religions of Islam and Christianity. And if we are going to be in any nation, be it Igbo, be it Yoruba, be it Nigeria, if whatever nation, we need to teach our children about their constitutional rights from the age of 4 so they can stand for their rights. As it stands now, the Nigerian constitution is not transparent because those in power are preventing you from exercising your powers of sovereignty, and they are hiding it from you. They don't want you to know you possess those powers. For example, the senators, I call you, that's why I'm saying you need to get used to, let us get used to keywords. The keywords that I want us to get used to in every community. Town hall. Town hall. In Yoruba, Ile Apejopo. Town hall. Get used to that word. In Yoruba, it's called Ile Apejopo. There you can ask questions. Transparency will only happen when you have town halls where you call a meeting, where your local government chairman, state house of assembly members, house of reps, senators, governors must attend, and they will answer. They have no choice but to answer questions from you, the citizens. Our governance is not transparent. I am telling you that categorically, and you can take that to the bank. Now we need to make this change. No more excuses. The churches and the mosque, and I say that categorically, the churches are the mosque are the biggest threat to our development as a nation, the biggest threat to our infrastructure development, because they are preventing us from asking questions, from posing, from exercising our rights as sovereigns to participate in our governance. The church will tell you they believe in Jesus Christ, pray. The mosque will say pray to Allah. And all you need to do is to call a town hall meeting, demand that those who are in government, elected or appointed, they account for what they spend. The budget padding that's happened now, we mustn't allow it to go away. We mustn't allow it to just go like that. We must question them. We need to question them. They need to explain to us where the funds have gone. And if they're not able to explain where the funds have gone, you have the right as sovereigns to recall them. Section 69 of the 1999 Constitution gives you the right to recall senators. If they fail to provide answers to you, if they fail to ensure that what they promised in terms at the beginning, if they fail to provide answers to where the funds are going, if they cannot give you transparency, you have a right to recall them. 2/3 of the community voting and saying, we don't want this senator. We want him out because he's not been transparent to us. And he will be removed. INEC will have to run another election for a new senator. That is the power you have. That is the power you have. Ladies and gentlemen, the time for just talking and praying is over. I'm saying it. In Africa, the church and the mosque are the biggest threats to the mental state of our children. We need to keep them out of those places. They don't have to play. They mustn't go to any church, any mosque. Start teaching them about themselves. They need to know about their history. Many of our history is hidden from us. You know why it's hidden? Because it is put in museums. Oh, there we go. They don't want it to. Oh boy. Yeah, anyway, I'll come back to this. So I'm going to try and do this. Sorry, we'll come back again. I'm going to try this. I hope it works. I think I know what it is. Sorry. It's not that. It's, beg your pardon. I'm going to try and work it out. So we will come back. I'm going to come back. Those of you on TikTok, we will come back. But I will do what I can if I can. Let me do this first. So, our democracy is not transparent. That is the fact. They've tried to hide that from all of us. I'm telling you now, here now, today. There is no transparency in our democracy. And it is time we confront that. I will come back later on this one because it looks like it's conked out on me somewhat and I cannot do anything else right now. I'll try again. I don't know if it will work. Okay. Yeah, I will try again. The phone is dead. It's dead as a dodo right now. But we will see what we can do later on with that. In the meantime, I guess I have to just accept that it's not going to function. Is there any other way I can do this? I'm trying to find a way. No, okay. I'll come back to it. The thing has gone dead. Now, please, I need to get you one more. I cannot see. Let me just try one more information. There is something I need to show you that I want you to read before I go. Please keep in mind you have these powers. The churches and the mosques are a big threat to our development as a nation, and we need to keep our children out of those places. They are designed to keep us enslaved in our land, to never wake up, to never know the way forward, to never know the way back, to never know how to carry on with things. Because they condition us to question things, to be fearful, to never use our mind. It closes your mind and you put you in a box, and it never allows you to express yourself. We need to keep our children out of the churches and the mosque. That is the plain fact. If we are going to have development, that is what is happening. That is what, go and look in China. How many of the children are in churches? I'll wait. Or mosque. And look at their development. How many? That's the reality. If we're going to change things, let's start from there. We must keep our children out of the churches and the mosques. That's the reality of what we face. Keep our children out of the churches and the mosques and watch our development as a nation skyrocket. The church and the mosque is designed to keep millions enslaved mentally, to never take action they need to take to free themselves. So the time is now. I urge you, if you're watching this podcast, share. Make sure that we reach as many people as possible. And I'm going to try and let me get this information to you. Those of you on TikTok, I'm trying to find it, but I cannot see it. But just bear with me. The battery is run dead on this phone on TikTok, so we'll come back. I'll come and do another one again. But we will continue on this way. We need to wake up. The church and the mosque are the biggest threat to our development as a nation. And our governance is not transparent. It's not transparent because they will say they spend billions. But when you ask to find out how much you must spend, how it's spent, they never tell you. They never allow you to question them. They never allow you to find out. That means that the system is not transparent. And until it's transparent, the best way it can be transparent, it needs you to participate in it. You start asking questions. The town hall meeting, start call the town hall meeting. They have to answer you. Ilé àpéjọpọ̀ in Yoruba. And in that town hall meeting, they have to answer questions from you, the citizens they're meant to serve. If that doesn't happen, you will never have any development. Forget about whether you have Yoruba Nation, whether you have Igbo Biafra, whether you have Middle Belt. If you do not start with this principal issue that I resolve it from beginning, right now, you will never have any development. That's a reality. Please share this broadcast. Let it reach many people. Let it reach many more ears, because a lot of people have been lost in this illusion, believing that you have to be a particular way, believing that, oh, only this is what you need to do, 274 trillion, 2.74 trillion, sorry. Let me see. One second, please. I'm just trying to check something out. I want to read that report to you. So any prayer, if anybody is telling you to pray, you're being tricked. 2.74 trillion spent on power in Nigeria. I want to get that report out because you need to understand it. You need to get it. You need to understand that. And I need you to wake up. Honestly, it is crazy. Yeah. So let me read this to you. I need you to read it. I want you to understand it, because this is really sad. And it backs up what Fisayo is saying. Soyombo. Listen to this. Look at this. Okay. Nigeria spent between, 2018, look at that, 96.8 billion, 44 billion, 128 billion, You see, 206 billion, 299 billion. You see? Now, I'm going to read you another. There's another report I want to show you. Let me quickly find that. 1 second. Let me just get this to you if I can find it. I hope I can find it because there is something that I saw. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to bring this out. I want you to see it yourself. Okay? So this is what I want you to focus on. There is no transparency. A total of 2.74 trillion has been spent on power since 1999. You see that? Despite this revelation, the sector remained the most problematic and unstable electricity supply has looked an unsolvable problem. The reason why it is an unsolvable problem is because there is no transparency in our governance. If you ask any questions, you are not allowed to ask questions. You are silenced. The people are conditioned not to even question. The people are not asking any questions. 2.74 trillion naira. You see it on the screen there. Let me make it bigger. I'm going to probably have a break soon. I'll come back, and this phone is a bit disappointed that they went now. It just had to, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. A total of 2.74 trillion naira has been spent on power since 1999. And that tells you what you need to know. That is why I say what I'm saying here. It is time you keep your children out of the churches and the mosques in Nigeria, in Africa, because they are occupying the mind of the people. The church says you see yourself as a sinner and somebody to be saved by Jesus Christ. That's what it says. You are a servant of Allah. And as a servant, you cannot ask questions because those two things. Look at what it says on the screen. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria. It doesn't allow you to see yourself as a sovereign from whom the government derives the powers and authority. So the religions, we need to keep them out of our mind, the mind of our children right now. If you want a better future for the coming generation, no right-thinking African will send their children into a place where they're going to be indoctrinated to disempower them, to leave them unable to solve this problem of bad governance. That is, and the best way to solve it is to question those elected into office to serve you. You have that right. You need to know it. Those are the things we should be teaching our children. If you want to have a better Nigeria, a better future, a better Yoruba land, it starts with keeping the churches and the mosque out of the minds of our youth from right now. That is the best way forward. Anything else we do, if you want to complain and wail and everything else, that's up to you. But I'm giving you critical steps we need to take now as a society, as a nation. If you want to see a better Africa, make sure those churches and mosques never have access to the minds of our youth. And in 5 to 10 years, you will marvel at our development. I guarantee you. This is not hearsay. This is me telling you directly. Memorize these words. Know it in Yoruba. Know it in Igbo. Let me see if I can find that for you. 1 second. Let me see. Yeah, let me see. I think it's this one. In Yoruba. Now, so this is the constitution. We need to be using our languages. This is really, really important stuff I'm saying. I'm going to have a break soon, I think. I've been doing this for some time now. I'm not quite sure how long. Let me just test the system. I've been looking for, but I told you, basically you saw, I will come back with that information later on because I saved it somewhere. 2.74 trillion naira. And nobody can tell you where that money is gone. That's because our democracy lacks transparency. Transparency will only happen when you and I, when every member of the community participates in their governance. And how do you participate? You ask questions. Begin to ask questions of those you elect into office. And it is your right to ask questions. And if they don't answer you, you recall them. Section 69 gives you the power to recall your senators. It is time we start using those powers. Let me just do something right quick. So I'm going to read it to you in Yoruba. This is something we need to teach to our children from now, from the age of 4. They need to know the words in Yoruba. Ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ní tìjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè gbogbogbò àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. we need to know that in our life. They need to know it offered. Second part, ìkópa àwọn ènìyàn nínú ìjọba wọn gbọ́dọ̀ rí dájú ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú àwọn òfin orílẹ̀-èdè yìí. Again, it is empowering them to know that they have the right to participate in their governance as laid down in the Constitution by virtue of the fact that the Constitution states that they are sovereign under Section 14.2a. These are the things we need to begin to do. I'm telling you now, if we allow the churches and the mosques to continue to occupy the minds of our people in Africa, we will never have any development, pure and simple. We need to reconnect back with our ancestors. Why is it that all of those things, all our artifacts are in the museums? It's designed to trap us. Think about this. Think about what I'm saying. Those things are behind glass walls. They are encased. It's like you've enslaved our minds. They've put our mind in a box. They've put our mind in a box, and they've given us what they use to control us. It's time we wake up. Africans, we need to wake up. This is not about hate. It's about development. The focus is to solve the problem. Somebody's saying, I don't want to hear anybody come here to tell me, oh, you're just complaining. I'm telling you what we need to do. Our governance will never be transparent because the people are conditioned through the religion to never question their governance. Our governance will never, ever, ever be transparent unless we break the link between our youth and these religions. They need to be far away from our people right now. That's the reality. If we want to solve this problem, that is where we must start. We must reconnect with our ancestral belief system. That worked for us. It built kingdoms. Clear evidence. What we're calling a democracy is designed to keep us enslaved, to never ever develop. And we need to wake up. It is our responsibility. The coming generation, we must not leave this legacy for them. We must not leave this legacy for them. Join me. You are, of course, watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'd like you to subscribe to us on YouTube. I don't come and do tit to tattle. We come here to speak facts. We come here to expose what is going on. Our governance lacks transparency. Yes, and I need you to write that down. Yes, our governance lacks transparency because, I'm going to just write it down, because, you see, our governance, write it down as well, lacks transparency. Because religion has been used to enslave our African minds. We must stop the indoctrination, yeah, I'm writing it down, of our youths by stopping taking our youths to churches and mosques in Africa. Put a stop to that and watch Africa develop. I kid you not. Within 10 years, we will have infrastructure. We will have development. And allied to that, we need to begin to use what you see on the screen. Our youth must know. The first thing they mustn't know about the Bible and the Quran. It's no use to them. It's not going to, the Bible and the Quran will not help you to get roads in your community. The Constitution will. Ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ níjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè nípa gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. A child knowing that from the age of 4 will know that the power that the government is using to run the government comes from him. It empowers him to now take the next step. What's the next step? Ìkópa àwọn ènìyàn nínú ìjọba wọn gbọ́dọ̀ rí dájú ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú àwọn òfin orílẹ̀-èdè. The participation by the people in the government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. When a 4-year-old knows that from 4, he will ensure that he participates in the governance because he knows that he'll have to, without him monitoring the government, there will be no transparency. There can never be transparency in our governance unless we, the people, begin to participate in that process. That is what has been missing. All the grammar, you can blow all the grammar you want, but that's the reality. And I need us all to go and think about this. And I'm going to be doing discussions about this a lot from here on. This is a revolution moment for all of us. This is a pivotal moment. I'm hereby categorically stating the church and the mosque are the biggest threat to any development that we hope to have as a nation, either Nigeria or Yoruba, indeed the whole of Africa. Because the church, the Christianity and Islam, they condition the mind to be subservient. That is the reality. They condition the mind to be subservient. I do hope many of you watching this, let's have your thoughts, because it is important, the questions and the things that we are raising here. It's a shame that thing broke, but it doesn't matter. What I'd like you to do, share this broadcast, leave a comment, let it reach as many people as possible, because what we are facing now, we need to change things. We desperately need to change things. So I'm going to put it here. I'm going to do that again. I will come back and I will do the church and the mosque are the biggest threat to any development we hope to have in terms of infrastructure, not only in Nigeria, but in the whole of Africa. The church and the mosque. They condition the mind of Africans to be subservient. And then people, be very compliant. And the Europeans, you see, or colonials will say, they're very, very religious. What they're saying is, no. You're very, very subservient. That's because the indoctrination has worked. They've carried out a theory and acted it out by you being subservient. It's time to wake up. It really is time to wake up. Those religions, we don't need it on the African continent. We need to begin to reconnect with our ancestors, to free ourselves. We have to free ourselves spiritually. Why are they keeping all our artifacts behind glass walls in museums? Why? They know that it's going to be of immense use to us, to our mental state, but they don't want us to have it. Don't join in keeping your people in the dark. It is time we spoke up. It is time we woke up. I'm asking you, please share this broadcast. I'm telling you right now, in the Nigerian government, in our democracy, there is no transparency. And transparency will only happen when we, the people, are able to exercise our powers under Section 14.2a that states, I'm going to read it to you in English, that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government through this constitution derives all its powers and authority. Ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ní tìjọba nípa àṣẹ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè nígbà gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀ 14.2a. And furthermore, it now goes further to talk about how you use those powers, which is the participation by the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. And in English, ìkópa àwọn ènìyàn níjọba wọn gbọ́dọ̀ rí dájú, in Yorùbá, ìkópa àwọn ènìyàn níjọba wọn gbọ́dọ̀ rí dájú ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú àwọn òfin orílẹ̀-èdè. We need our children to learn this. They catch our youths young. The church and the mosque ensures that the indoctrination starts at an early age. Around the age of 4, you are either in a mosque or in a Sunday school, learning about being subservient. And by the time you are 16 or 18, you automatically do that same routine. It's a quotidian. It's a routine. Do the same thing over and over. Automatically your brain thinks in that way because you've been conditioned to think that way. We need to break free from it. The church and the mosque are the biggest threat to our development as a nation. To have infrastructure on our land, they are the biggest threat. We need to wake up. We can no longer ignore this. I'm going to come back and talk about this, and I'm going to say it again, and again. We are, I'm afraid, in a situation whereby the current government, unless we, the citizens, begin to participate in our governance, the government will now do civilian dictatorship, which is covert military dictatorship. It's civilian dictatorship where they are silencing us. But that is why it is really important that I'm saying what I'm saying right now. All of us, we need to ensure that we start participating in our governance. Call a town hall meeting. Every constituency, you must call a town hall meeting where you question all your senators. They have to provide the breakdown of the projects, the project budget for their constituency, and who are the contractors, how much they spend, what's the balance, and you need to be monitoring them on a regular basis, on a monthly basis. Once a month, you have a town hall meeting where they give you updates of what they spend, what's the balance, evidence also of what it's been spent on. You need to see it. You need to start questioning those you elect into office. Your role is to question. Without you questioning them, you won't get roads, you won't get water, you won't get light, you won't get schools, you won't get bridges, you won't get any of those things. That is the reality. And I'm going to come back and talk about this at great length. In the meantime, what I want you to do is please share this broadcast. Help us reach as many people as possible. We are at a pivotal moment. I'm going to be doing a show now. I am going to be doing a show where I am advocating openly for the exclusion, for the people to stop sending their children to churches and mosques, for their areas, for their places where they brainwash our children. That is the reality. The churches and the mosques, their role is to prevent development of the people that are forced to become this, that have been psychologically put in a place whereby they have no other choice but to follow those religions. And it affects their development. That is the reality. In many respects, that is a deep, unseen ray to the assist action. But I'll come and talk about that later on. But we need to really understand what is going on. We have been indoctrinated in being subservient. Look at African people. When we go to places, because of the conditioning, we are like that. It takes us a while. Everybody's, because of it's our automatic response. We've been taught this since the age of 4. It's time to break free. The coming generation, please hear me now. The coming generation of Nigerians or Yoruba people or Igbos, we must keep them away from the churches and the mosques. Because, like I said, our governance lacks transparency because religion has been used to enslave our African minds. We must stop the indoctrination of youths by taking our youths to those places, those religions, those churches and mosques. We must stop it. That is something that I need you to spread the word about. Spread the word about what it is in NY said here. And I say it categorically. We lack transparency in our governance. How can you spend 2.74 trillion naira and there is no single thread of evidence to back it? 2.74. Let me do something for you to understand what I mean. I don't think people understand. 2.74 trillion naira in dollars. Okay? Okay, let's do this now. 2.74 trillion naira in dollars. Yeah? In dollars. Yeah? Let's see what it comes up with. See that? That's billion, I think. Yeah. 2 billion. You see? It's 2 billion. 78 million 971. See, it's 2.7 billion. We can't continue like this anymore. Now, people, We really cannot continue. 2.74 billion. And you just say it's God. When are we going to wake up? That's indoctrination. That's the reality of what we face. And I'm here to tell you the biggest threat to our development is the church and the mosque in Africa. Take it or leave it. People may hate me for saying this, but we need to keep our children. The coming generation must be kept away from those places. That is what China did. China will never let the youth be indoctrinated in the church or any mosque. They prevent it. Why do you think the Chinese kids, you see them, they're developing things? Because their minds has been allowed to grow. The church and the mosque stops their mind from growing, puts it in a box. It's time to wake up. And on top of that, our governance, because of the fact that the kids have been conditioned not to question, then the government does whatever and they don't explain. No, even though we have the powers as citizens to hold them to account, we are not used to doing it. That's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to wake us up so that we can begin to participate in that process and hold our governance to account. Very, very important. Let me just make sure I get this right. I'm going to show you. 1 minute, please. I'm going to just quickly do something here. I'll put it back here. 1 second. I'm going to put it here because I need you to really... So that's Fisayo there. I'll come and talk about that later on. In fact, I'll probably do a show about this. But I need you to keep in mind what is going on here. For a nation to have nobody account for 2.74 trillion naira, and we think prayers is our solution, then we've been misled, we've been lied to, and it's time to wake up. And our job, my job, is to enlighten you, to make you look at things from a different point of view. Please do share this broadcast. If you haven't subscribed to Citizen NY, please go ahead and subscribe. Well, at least you know, thank you, my brother. Go and share. Please stop I'm going to do a program. I'm actually going to do a program. Stop sending your children to churches and mosques. They are enslaving the minds of our people. We will never, ever develop for as long as we continue. Exactly. Commercialized, incorporated churches are paying their dues to the state establishment, unfortunately. You're right, but we need to break it. We have no transparency. We have no transparency in our governance. And unless we got to state the facts. We cannot allow this to go on any longer. It is doing untold damage to our people, our psyche. I mean, you name it. You know, it's severe, untold damage. Untold damage. Untold damage. 1 minute, please. Let me just make sure I put this here. 1 minute, please. I want to just make sure. Please share this broadcast. 1 minute. I'll do this again. 1 minute. Back again. Please share. So in fact, I'm going to do this. So you will see it. Yeah. So I'm putting it out there, and I want as many people as possible to share this. Yes, we need to say it like it is. People may not like what I'm about to say, but we have to say it like it is. And I want to provoke a debate. Make sure that we understand that without there is no transparency in our system. There's zero transparency in our system. Zero. If we're not transparent and you cannot ask questions, then we are finished. As a people, we cannot grow and we cannot achieve anything. We cannot. And that is why what I'm doing here is very, very important, that we share and reach as many people as possible. We got to put a stop to this fraudulent governance that has imprisoned our minds. And I want you to know. £250 excess. I want you to know. Sorry about that. This is what I need to do. Sorry about that. I need you to know that we must take concrete action collectively to address what's going on. We must take collective action. What did you know, my brother? Thank you so much. All of us must share this message. We need to stop our families sending their children to churches and mosques. They are nothing more than indoctrination centers. Our governance is not transparent because we are raising people that are not participating in the government as written in our constitution. And the biggest obstacle for the people participating in the governance are the churches and the mosques that makes the people see themselves as servants, as slaves, thereby with an inability from the age of 4 to question authority, to question those in government. We need to put a stop to it. If we want to have infrastructural development, we need to put a stop to this. We have to wake up. It is of immense importance. Let me quickly do something as I'm talking to you now. Please do share this podcast. I'm going to make sure, this is very, very important. Let me just see if I can find downloads. Okay, 1 second. So I know people will not like it, but it's the biggest threat to our development. It is. I'm going to come back and do a show about this in greater length, but you can rest assured that, what I am saying to you now is something that can no longer be taken for granted. We must take urgent action. We must take urgent action. In fact, immediate action. So let me go back there. We must take immediate action to halt both of those places. They are a threat to our future. It is a threat to our national development. Churches and the mosque are a threat to our national development. They are. Yeah. And I say that to churches and mosques. They are centers for merely. You will see it come up. I'm going to do a show on this. One minute, please. I'm just writing this down and I'll come back and do a show on it. So we'll come back and I'll do a show on this properly. but I need you to really begin to start wording this out. Start thinking about what I just said now, because what has happened to us is something that we can no longer ignore. And I say that categorically. Please stop sending your children to churches and mosques. Stop. If you want to have a nation that works, the churches and the mosques are the biggest drawback to our development. They are. And I will give the evidence later on when I'm doing my live broadcast. I'm going to have a break now, but I will come back, and I want you to please share this very important message. People will think I'm just talking, many people will look at it, but this is more than that now. This is now something that we have to really, take on board. It is actually, it's as a nation, it is a threat to our existence as a nation, as a group, as a people. Where the danger of us becoming forever enslaved in our own land and thinking that we are free is so high that we can no longer ignore it anymore. I, for one, do not think that we should take this lightly, put it that way. I really do think that which is not something we should take lightly at all. We need to be very, very clear that what is going on is just, it is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. We mustn't settle for it anymore. We mustn't settle for it. It is a threat to our development as people. We've been, like I said, 2.74 billion, over $2 billion since 1999. No electricity, and there's no transparency, and they keep telling you to pray. You need to wake up. The solution is not religion. The solution is to break away from those religions. Stop sending our children to the churches and the mosque. That's the reality. And I will keep saying it, and I will say it loud and clear. Be unequivocal about it. I'll be I'm saying it as it should be said, and we need to make sure that our people are fully aware of what is being done here. We can no longer accept this. We need to really, be very, very precise and deliberate about this. If we want a development, we can only develop devoid of those indoctrination centers. That's the only way we'll develop. I'm going to have a pause for now. Please share this broadcast. What we are doing here is to enlighten us. We can no longer continue to be in a situation where we are allowing those institutions to occupy our minds, because they are keeping us enslaved, and we need to break free. We must break free. Let's hear Fisayo Shoyombo for a few minutes, and then we'll wrap up.
I wrote in that story, one of the smugglers that I worked with directly, his friend was killed because we were trying to move stuff through the forest, bypassing customs, not paying bribes to customs. His friend who thought he had charm, he was fortified, got shot by customs, and he died. Mm-hmm. This particular smuggler, jumped into the bush, broke his leg. It took him time to heal. So, people have to understand that when they consume the media and it's there that customs assist whatever, cocaine, codeine, whatever, those guys do not pay them. If you pay them, you bring it in.
Fisayo, these are very, very heavy allegations, because what it would mean,
I can make them.
Yeah, well, what you...
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. I'm going to watch this entire thing live from beginning to end. I will run a program about it, and we will look at this. In fact, I think it's something worth looking at in its entirety, because we have to understand that our governance lacks transparency, and that is the biggest problem we face. For as long as our governance is not transparent, and we, the people, are conditioned to not question it, even though we have the powers within the Constitution under Section 14.2 and 14.2c, and Section 69, for example, to recall people who are refuse to provide answers or to serve the people well. For as long as we don't begin to exercise those powers that I'm stating now, there will be no development. 14.2a and 14.2c is so crucial. It provides the foundation for building infrastructures because it is transparency. 14.2a and 14.2c is transparency of the system. The people are providing transparency by monitoring their own governance from one community to the next, from one community to the next. You don't just leave it and go away and by magic the government have done what they're supposed to do. They will not do it. In our case, because of indoctrination, we don't even have we've been conditioned not to even look there because they don't want us to scrutinize them. Our governance lacks transparency. Our governance lacks transparency. Get used to recognizing that, and we need to address that collectively. And I say it categorically. Commercializing cooperative churches paying their dues to state establishment. Unfortunately, let me just let me put that up there. I'm going to pin that here. Have you pinned it? Let me see if I can pin it. How do I pin it? Sorry. Oh, okay. I know what it is. I need to go and do it another way. But I am in there. So 1 minute. Yeah, pin message. Yeah, there you go. So I'm pinning that message. So I need us all to really think about this. I'm going to come back and do a proper video from beginning to end with Fisayo. But please, 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 I'm saying this now. If we are going to develop in Nigeria, please don't forget to give us thumbs up as you're watching and share this podcast. What are your thoughts? Let us hear from you. Let us reach every community. We need to put a stop to churches and mosques. Stop sending your children to churches and mosques. They are nothing more than indoctrination centers, religious indoctrination centers that prevents the development of our nation. Because the people that are coming out of those churches, many of them have been conditioned to never question their governance. It's an anathema to them because of the conditioning that the religion has placed on their minds. In many cases, since the age of 4. My people, you're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Please share this broadcast. Share this broadcast. Let it reach as many people as possible. We need to put a stop to the churches and sending our children to churches and mosques. They are the biggest indoctrination centers that are preventing us from developing our nation and having infrastructure in our communities. The churches and mosques are a severe hindrance, and I kid you not. And we need to be very, very clear about that and talk about it and expose this and make sure that in China, they will never allow churches and the mosques to be anywhere near their youths. Never. So that should tell you something. And the fact that we are allowing it, tells you that we've been conditioned to accept that by those things that are actually preventing our development. We've been so blinded by religion that we don't realize that this religion is actually preventing us from developing our land, because our people, we need the people to monitor within every single community what their governance is doing. The minute you don't monitor your governance, you will never get the infrastructure that you need. And the fact that the governance is not transparent, and it will never be transparent unless we, the people, begin to monitor the government. It will never be transparent. Take it from me. We need to really understand that. And I'm going to go away. I'm going to have a break. Please share this broadcast. Let it reach as many people as possible. Thank you so much for watching. You've been watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Please don't forget, subscribe to Citizen AY. Help us grow the platform. Subscribe, hit notification button, give us thumbs up. Now, the time for you wailing and saying, oh, government, the government will not change. The government will never give you what you want. You need to participate in the process. Begin to monitor the government. When the government is being monitored and they know they have nowhere to hide, that is when our infrastructure will come. And we need to start teaching our children from the age of 4. And that is why I'm saying to you, we stop sending our children to indoctrination centers. The churches and the mosque are indoctrination centers. We need to put a stop to it in our community. I'll come back and do some more discussion about this. Please share this podcast. You are, of course, watching Citizen AI, the platform